So in this segment about Alaska, we are going to concentrate on a particular wildlife species, one that has garnered the attention of Americans over the centuries. An animal that pretty much is emblematic of what wilderness is all about. And so we're going to talk about brown bears, which are also sometimes referred to as grizzlies. There are black bears, brown bears, and polar bears in the North American continent. So what would you do if you were charged by a grizzly bear? Would you run? Well, over the years, I've collected student responses to this question. And so as we continue, I'm going to refer back to some of the student responses that I've kept that I thought were particularly interesting. So here's a student response to what would you do if you were charged by a grizzly bear? I'd throw beef jerky at the bear and then run. Okay, so remember that running from the bear is not necessarily a good idea. I'd dive under the bear's legs and run the other way. So again, this theme of running probably is not going to be workable in the long run. I'd run in a squiggly line downhill. Okay, well, that's not going to work either because the bears are fast going uphill or downhill or on the straightaway. And in fact, in bursts of speed, a brown bear can travel at close to 30 miles per hour. So they would outrun us very quickly. This student had a clever idea. I'd run faster and outrun the friends with me. In other words, the friends would get eaten. So there's a good friend for you. I'd run faster and outrun the friends with me. Well, the bottom line is this: don't run. That is the absolute worst thing that you can do. You want to stand your ground. Bears have a pretty good sense of smell, but very poor eyesight. And as predators, if they see something moving away from them in the other direction at a pretty good clip, their instinct is to chase it down. So you don't want to run. You stand your ground. So what is it that you should do? Well, now let's go back to the student responses. I'd climb a tree. I know some bears can climb trees, but others can't. And this is actually true. Generally speaking, and I'll say it again, generally speaking, black bears can climb trees and brown bears cannot climb trees. So let's say that you're having a little trouble with your bear identification. And I will mention to you that black bears can be black or they can be brown. They can even be blonde. So let's say you're having a little trouble with bear identification and there is a tree available to climb and you climb up the tree. If the bear comes up after you and gets you, then it's a black bear. But if the bear remains below the tree and knocks it down with its paw, then that would probably be a brown bear. So that's true. Some bears can climb trees. If there is a tree available, then go ahead and climb it. So that's assuming that it's nearby and you can get to it before the bear can get to it, keeping in mind that the bears can move pretty fast. So the next student response, I'd yell at the bear to scare it away. And so this would be a good thing to do. You want to make noise. So, for example, you could bang pots together if you happen to have pots conveniently located in your backpack. You might yell at the bear, and you want to look bigger than you are. So with the bears, what they would do if they were approaching you is that they go into an intimidation response in which they'll turn sideways to look bigger, and they may also go up on their hind legs, again to look bigger, but also perhaps to get a better view, or even more important, a better scent of what they're dealing with. So the bear will also sometimes initiate fake charges, and they'll come bounding towards you making a gruff barking noise like this. Woof, 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 woof. And this is to scare you. It's an intimidation display. And so the bears will charge toward you, making these deep, gruff sounds, and then stop. And then they might charge again. So what you want to do is make loud noises and look bigger than you are. So you can do that by standing tall and even spreading your arms apart. So if you were confronted by a grizzly bear, then you want to stand your ground. This student said, I'd stand my ground, but probably soil my pants. And this is sort of a two-part answer. My dog Layla heard me making that grizzly bear sound and just came in wagging her tail. So it's okay, Layla. Nothing to worry about. It wasn't a brown bear, just me. So this student wrote, I'd stand my ground, but probably soil my pants. So two-part answer. The first part of the answer is correct. Probably don't want to do the second part of the response. Okay, so what you do want to do, the bear's charging at you, let's say, you ultimately want to hit the ground and curl up. You want to play dead and don't fight back. So the bear makes a couple of these fake charges. It's coming at you. It's making that sound. And then it stops. And then it might charge again. And so you don't want to run. And students have asked me in the past, Layla's back. She heard me again. I'm driving her nuts. So you want to, you know that the bear may be charging toward you, and students have asked me, well, how do you know if it's a fake charge or, you know, the real thing? And the way you know for sure that it's not a fake charge is that if the bear doesn't stop. So if the bear keeps coming at you, then that's not a fake charge. And this is when you hit the ground and you curl up and you play dead and you don't fight back. So that's probably your best chance. The other thing is that for those with a religious background, I recommend that you pray. Don't give up hope. There's actually a story about a petite young woman who was out solo in Alaska's wilderness, and she got approached by a bear, and she made herself look as big as she could, and she yelled at the bear, beat it bear, go away bear, scram bear. You wouldn't be that creative under the circumstances. So she was yelling at the bear, making noise, trying to make herself look big, and the bear came over and charged. And so she hit the ground, curled up, played dead. And so, you know, and you can imagine how frightened she was, but she'd done everything right. And so the bear took its massive paws and started to bat her back and forth like a cat would with a mouse. And it just knocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then swung its paw high in the air and basically swept her into the air about 20 feet. She flew through the air, hit down on the ground, hit upon the tundra, and skidded to a stop. Well, the bear wandered over slowly and went through the whole process again. Sniffed around, batted her back and forth a few times, and then swept its paw under her and sent her flying in the air again. She hit the ground, bounced along a little bit, and came to a stop. The bear came over again. And you can imagine how frightened she was. Well, at this point, the bear sniffed around a little bit more and ultimately left. And so her approach to this saved her life. And it may not always work, but this is the preferred technique as to what to do if you were charged by a grizzly bear. And so again, in terms of this last item that I've got up here, don't give up hope. I'm going to add a little bonus to this portion of the lecture. Perhaps there is a message in all this about hope, especially at this particular moment in time. As we consider Alaska's wildness and beauty, let's not despair, but rather look forward and work toward a better future.